Good morning, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam, and we are here to talk about The Bad Batch. How is everyone? Last night I recorded the pre-movie thoughts part of all the upcoming Beware of Spoilers episodes for movies for the rest of the month. I figured, let's go back to that format for movies, because I think it adds a little something to it that we don't normally get in movie reviews. If we sit there and we talk about what we're expecting going into the movie. So last night I sat down, took an hour and just banged out all of them, because it's 5-10 minutes, so I was able to bang out 8 of them in an hour, give or take, and then I can just splice them onto the episode when the episode comes out. So it's a pretty good system, I think. So we're going back to the old system. I think that's the moral here. But yeah, so and I was working on the outline for all 3 parts of the Progenitor War, which is coming out in a few years, and like the other books, it's going to be Kindle Direct and possibly soft cover, and we might do a hardcover eventually, but I'm loving where this is going, because my problem was, how do we end it? I know what the ending is, but how do we frame the final fight to be something interesting and fun and big. The fight's gotta be cataclysmic, and I think I figured it out, and I'm really excited to get into this one. This is a big piece that we have going forward, and then we also have what's coming after. It's going to be fun too. But yeah, if you like Secret Wars, the comic, I feel like part 2 might be for you, with what I'm going to do there. Yeah, that's all I'll say for now. But yeah, it's going to be cool. So look out for that. I think the first part comes out not next year, because next year is the end of Echo Omega. That's going to be the end of that series is going to be next year, and then the year after that is going to be Progenitor War Part 1, when we start the 3-year release slate. The 3 books a year release slate, starting in 2025. But yeah, so we're ramping up, and it's going to be cool. But if you want to pre-order the next book, which is We Are Better Than Our Worst Instincts, that comes out June 16th, I think. I really gotta write these dates down and have them on hand for when I do the podcast, but I think it's June 16th. But if you go to multipleworldproductions.com and click on the little tab on top, it might be, if you're on your phone, it's in the little drop-down menu, but click the little tab on top. There's a button that says, what's it called? Pre-orders, and it's up there. And we'll have a pre-order up for Echo Delta Part 2 at some point in the near future. But I've been very busy lately, so I haven't gotten a chance to set up the store page for it yet. And we'll also have the 10th anniversary of Family is Forever, which is a script that every time I look at it, the longer out I get from reading this script, and look, maybe it's the same thing with all of them, but the more I'm like, oh, why did I do this? Because it's not great, but it was the first. So there'll be an author's note, as usual, the 10th anniversary author's note, where I talk about, where this came from and all of that. And we'll also talk about a little bit about projects in the future. I think we're going to have a few coming attraction sequences from other books that are coming that'll be exclusive to that. I think the intro for Progenitor War Part 1 will be in there, and maybe a title reveal will be in there. We're not going to stick with Part 1. We're not going to do, what was the other one that was Part 1, Part Part 2, like Dead Reckoning Part 1, Part 2. We're not going to do that. There's going to be a name. It's going to be like Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, where there's going to be subtitles instead of Part 1, Part 2, but it's just placeholder Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. But definitely going to have a, what's it called? A thing for that in there, and definitely going to, and it might be a little bit more. Yeah, I could see it going. It depends on how many pages it is and how nice the book comes out. But I could see it going for a solid 15. But we'll see. More details to come on that. Because I'm still working out making that. Like, I gotta, like, as part of it, I'm gonna re-edit. I'm not gonna change anything as much as I may want to while I'm reading it. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to re-edit it to make it clearer, like easier to read in terms of formatting when you move it to the new page size and all of that. So I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to change it in any substantial way because I feel like that's cheating for this kind of thing. It's just going to be, I think the edition that's going to be in there is going to be the extended edition, or the quote-unquote canon edition, because I think the extended, I haven't revisited those characters since The Singers, which would have been 2015, maybe 2014, 2015. Like, one of the characters in the prequels is going to be back in We Are Better Than Our Worst Instincts, which is cool to write that character again. I really enjoy, writing that character, and she'll be back in We Are Better Than Our Worst Instincts, because unlike Emily, she is not dead. So she can still be operating, and I've wanted to reintroduce her into the fold for a while because I enjoy that character so much. But yeah, she's gonna be back. So all of that notwithstanding, keep an open, keep your ear to the ground on this. Because I'll drop little information as I go on it. Like, I'm introducing 2 other characters in it, in Our Past Is Up to Minus that I really love, that I came up with a few years back. I'm really excited to have these characters make their debut, and they're gonna not just make their debut, but have a sizable role in this in this book. And there are other characters too that I want to bring in that we're going to get to eventually. I have some cool ideas for the future, but that's down the line a little bit. We got to look at the release slate and see what fits where. And as of right now, we have the 3 releases a year. But if things start to take off and we have to start moving things around, we'll start moving things around because other things might get priority over the books. If we can get a production budget in place to shoot Prelude more imminently, that may preempt. That's why I haven't put up the pre-order for Echo Delta Part 2 yet, because I don't want to commit to the release date 100%, and then have to pull it and then lose the ability to put pre-orders up on Amazon. If I do it like when the last one comes out, we'll put the pre-order up. That's probably the best way to handle it, just so we don't lose anything. Should we have to, we'll have 6 months out, I'll know, and then in the future 4 months out, I'll know, guarantee we're going to have this out. So the new episode of The Bad Batch, which is what we're here to talk about, not talking about my nonsense. But without my nonsense, we don't keep the lights on here. So, talking about, The Bad Batch, this new episode, nothing says we totally planned out what we were going to do with these movies. Like, devoting an entire TV show and part of The Mandalorian to retconning the clone program into things. And doing an entire comic series to kind of retrofit in the cloning program that the Emperor had into things. Which, again, I think I've expressed this before, I have a problem with Vader knowing about the Emperor cloning himself and all of that, because if that was the case and he did know that the cloning was happening, throwing him down the chute issue to the Death Star doesn't actually have any impact then, because he knows he's coming back to life. Like, it means nothing. It's a short-term solution to saving Luke's life, but it's not doing the right thing to save the entire galaxy. And arguably, it becomes part of the Emperor's plan then. And it's like a lot of things are like that. Like, we had the retcon in, like, with, I've talked about before, Victory's Price has to retrofit Operation Cinder into the fact that the Emperor is not dead. Because it's like, they very explicitly say, when Operation Cinder starts in Battlefront 2, like, oh, the Emperor is dead, and the Emperor says, like, if you're seeing this, I'm dead, and the Rebellion has made a victory that could be incredibly costly, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to implement Operation Fuck Me, Fuck You, and we're going to destroy the entire, galaxy, and move on from there. There's ice cream in the fridge, good night, have a great day. Like, the idea that that needs to be retconned in is because, they're not doing things in line with having a plan. And look, these cloning things are cool, and I like what they're doing, and I like how it's being handled and all of that. I appreciate all of that. My problem with it is, I don't think that it's being particularly, like, I feel like the episode around it is not as interesting as what's going on the Imperial base with the Kaminoans. Because, like, here's my problem. Like, the Prime Minister of Kamino is a total bitch. Full stop. Like, here's the thing. If I'm the Prime Minister of a planet, I'm Prime Minister Adam of a planet, and the Empire, the Republic was, spending lots of money getting us, using our cloning program, and they're making a lot of money, and, all of that. Yay, we're doing that. And then they start not only slowly pulling out of the deal, but then nuke us from orbit in a genocide, and then decide to, like, totally fuck the entire planet. Like, if the Empire calls me in and has me, in cuffs, and they're like, okay, so we need you to get your top scientist of your cloning program to talk so we can keep using him, I'd be like, you know what you can do? You can fuck all the way off. Like, kill me if you want, I'm not doing that. Like, torture if you want, I'm not fucking doing that. Like, what are you gonna do? Kill me, like, kill the rest of my people? Oh, wait, no, you did that already. Like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, why is he just capitulating? And it's like, if they had, like, a kid that was like, oh, so they have this kid hostage, so that's why they're gonna capitulate and get him to talk, like, that's it. But why is this Prime Minister just giving up Omega and the Bad Batch? Like, why? And the thing is, too, based on the track record of this season, like, starting out the season where it's like, oh, well, we can't, oh, well, we know Clone Force 99 got away. And it's like, oh, are you sure of that? And he's like, yeah. And he shoots him. He's like, no, they didn't. Like, it's that kind of thing where, like, no one wants me to bear bad news that Clone Force 99 got away. If that's the case, then they're in a real pickle here. And I don't think the show is going to address that when it should. I think that's kind of a big problem we have with this. It's like there's no reason for the Prime Minister to be in league with the Empire at this point, considering everything that they've done to fuck the Kaminoans. Like, it's not even like the situation on Bespin where it's like Lando's going along with the Empire until they push the line where it's like, okay, you crossed the line now, where you keep doing X, Y, and Z and you're fucking us. Like, it's not even a situation like that. It's, they've already been fucked, and they've been fucked pretty badly. They can't get unfucked from this. Like, that's the thing, is that it's like, the Empire has already committed a heinous and unspeakable act against the people of Kamino, and then there's nothing that you can be done to fix it. Like, you can't undo a genocide, you can't undo the destruction of a fucking city. Like, and all the people who live there. Like, you can't, there's no fixing what happened there. So it's not like they can offer the Prime Minister anything besides his freedom. And it's like, look, if you want to say, like, oh, the Prime Minister, just wants his freedom, that's fine. But I don't think that's been laid out enough either. Like, because it's like, if you're the Prime Minister and it's like they've nuked us from orbit and now they're holding me as a prisoner and now they're saying, hey, we'll let you go if you do this, why the fuck would I believe them? I have no reason to believe they're going to hold up their end of the deal. And then what ends up happening when you do stuff like this is that when the Empire inevitably reneges and then shoots him in the head, it's like, well, it's Star Wars. They're not going to shoot him in the head. They're going to shoot him, he can get shot in the torso or something. And then he's going to die of natural causes. But, if that's the case, like, it just makes the guy look stupid. Because it's like, why the fuck did you trust them? Why did you believe anything they said? They're full of shit. That's their entire fucking thing, is that they're full of shit. What, like, I feel like last week when we talked about The Flash, where I'm like, why the fuck would you do this? It's the same kind of thing where it's like, this character is acting so stupid that I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. Meanwhile, all the stuff that's going on with the Bad Batch is just kind of like, alright, cool, I guess. Like, weird Godzilla-like creature that feeds on electricity and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Alright, that's cool. But, like, the fuck? What the fuck? Like, I don't know. The middle of the episode is kind of where it lost me, and then when we got to the end, I was like, alright, this is cool, I guess. Like, but, again, I'm not 100% certain. Like, the Empire effectively has no bargaining chip in this situation. Because it's like, number one, they have no incentive to ever let the Prime Minister go. Because it's like, so what? They get him to start working, they get the scientists to start working, or I think the scientist is a woman, they get the scientists to start working, then they let the Prime Minister go. Then what? What's he gonna do? He's gonna go fucking hide on some shithole so that way he doesn't have to get caught immediately the second that the scientist stops working and they need to, renegotiate a deal? Like, it's not, this isn't a situation that's going to end well for the Prime Minister. So why the fuck are they taking the deal? Like, there's no winning, so why not go out somewhat like a hero? And the only reason that they're not is because they need to, like, we need to get the cloning program started. And if not for if not for Camino doing this, they wrote themselves into a corner on this. And this is the worst way to handle this situation, I think. Because at the end of the day, it's like, the easiest solution is just fucking kidnap someone's kid. Like, just go in there and be like, okay, so we have your fucking son. Like, you're going to do this, or we're going to, like, it just makes the whole thing seem so poorly run, which, I mean, I guess the Empire is, to an extent. It's a bureaucracy that's killed by its own, bureaucracy, but it is kind of an interesting thing to look at, that this nonsense is, happening this way, I guess. But I don't know. I watched this show and I'm just like, this is a decision that I'm like, this is really fucking stupid, because there's no reason for this to happen the way that it does. Besides the fact that it needs to, because they wrote themselves into a corner. But yeah, I guess that'll be the end of it for today. We'll talk about The Flash tomorrow morning. We'll be seeing Operation Fortune tomorrow afternoon. And I feel like there's something else. Oh, Triangle of Sadness. Maybe we'll move Triangle of Sadness to Sunday, just so I'm not overloaded on Saturday. We'll move Triangle of Sadness to Sunday, because I got a lot going on. And then we'll also do the episode about hands-on with Switch Online on Saturday too, or on Sunday too. So we got a weekend of 4 episodes in 2 days, so get the fuck ready for that. So until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.